back, or welcome to another travel vlog. This time we are jetting off to sunny Roma in Italy, and we started off the morning with a breakfast from Gatwick Airport as we were flying very early in the morning. Our flight was at 9 a.m. and we arrived in Italy just after lunchtime. We took the train from the airport straight into the city, checked in and got some pizza, and headed straight to the Trevi Fountain, which was full of tourists, but if you do squeeze down at the front you can get a good photograph and toss your coin into the fountain. Then we had some souffle because himself never shut up about these things, filled with rice and cheese, tomato. They are tasty and they are very cheap. Then of course we had to have some aperol spritz, the first of very many of the trip. These were huge goblets, hence the size of my hand and my face compared to the goblet. And we just walked around taking in some of the architecture, some of the small streets, and then we headed towards the Spanish Steps, taking in the Prada and Gucci stores on our way. This whole street is filled with designer stores, Miu Miu, Chanel, everything is on this one street, and then at the top is the Spanish Steps. And just note, you can't sit down on these steps. There are some guards, if you can kind of see, and they will shout at you if you do attempt to sit on the steps. And it was such a nice day. We just kept walking around the city, up the steps, and taking in the lovely scenic view. There was this plaza area which had lots of restaurants, people outdoors, eating, drinking, having a nice time. It was almost dinner, so it was a very nice spot to come to if you want to people watch as well. And there's people like selling things, there's different street acts and things. And we headed to a very recommended place called Osteria de Fortunata, and we arrived really good timing. We waited 5 minutes for a table, and then by the time we left, the queue was down the street. So if you want to go, I will go with like 7. Then we went to Jerry Thomas Speakeasy. This was literally like a small living area. You had to have a password to get in. You had to knock the door and say the password, and it was all very cool, very quaint. We had one because it was very busy and booked up, and headed on our way. Then at night time we walked past the Pantheon just to see it in the flesh for the first time, and this was it, lit up at night time, obviously closed, you can't go inside, but we wanted to come back another day and do this anyway. And the next morning we went to Roscioli Cafe to get some of these famous baked goods from in Italy. Like, it's a known thing, you stand at the counter, have a coffee and have a pastry. Yeah, that is full of cream. It is so tasty, so good. Would definitely recommend it, and not expensive at all. Then if that wasn't enough, we headed to have some pizza for breakfast. We headed to the spot Al Forno, which is part of the Roscioli group as well, just around the corner. It was very busy, people buying baked stuff, bread, pastries, everything you can think of. They had a very wide selection, and there's this thing in Italy, which you probably already know, but they cut the pizza by the slice so that even someone with very little money can also have some food to eat, which is very cool. But we asked for basically an array of different pizza slices, and this is what we got. And it was an absolute scorcher of a day, so we headed around for more walking in the morning, and this huge building was a sight to see in the daytime. Would recommend going to see it. And then we headed to the Colosseum. We had pre-booked tickets a few days before we flew over to Rome. Would recommend pre-booking. There are many crowds, everybody trying to get that one Instagram picture, as you can see. And there's many angles to take it from, but we ventured inside to go around the arena floor and spent maybe over an hour walking around the whole of the Colosseum, and it was really cool to see inside and to see in person. we find a cute little spot to have some more aperol spritz and people watch around the Colosseum before then heading to the Forum, which was part of our ticket, and you just walk around the grounds and see like the ruins and things, and it's huge, and it will take you like a long time to walk around it, but great day, lots to see, and it was a nice way to spend the afternoon. Off the camera. And then we ventured around the streets and into some cathedrals and churches to see a lot of the artwork and the ceilings, which were incredible. Definitely something to go into if you walk past a church or chapel and have a look around. And then we went inside the Pantheon as well, and there is a specific time of day when you get the sun directly shooting through that circle in the ceiling. I don't know what time of day that is, but if you're interested, have a look before you go and you can get that iconic picture. And then it was time for more aperol, of course, with some bruschetta and some burrata. And my Italian accent isn't the best, but we had some nibbles and some aperitifs. We headed across the river then in the evening for our dinner and found a little pasta spot which had really, really good reviews on Google, and it was a very, very tasty meal. And the next morning we ventured out for some more coffee and some pastries, and we came to this little spot that we had been recommended. Again, it was very, very busy, but it is cheaper if you go to the counter and just eat inside rather than table service. And I will say that the service here was a little slow. This guy was running around serving all the tables by himself, but we had really, really good pastries and really good coffee. And this was the day for going over to the Vatican City. So we looked at this castle. We didn't go in because you did have to pay and we weren't that interested. We were more interested in St. Peter's, and there it is. We did pre-book these tickets as well because you can stand for absolute hours in the sun and wait to get inside. So I would, definitely say if you want to go and you want to see inside it, pre-book. But before we went inside, we went over to Bonky Pizza, which is very close by, and as you can see, it is a very, very popular spot. So there's a huge queue. I would recommend, we didn't even know at the time, but take a ticket as soon as you walk up to the place, and that is your number. They will call you and you order. So don't queue in the line and then say that you need to buy a ticket or need to grab a ticket. So again, they cut you the slice, what size you want it. They have so much pizza. It was coming all the time. So tasty. Would recommend. So good. And then this was inside the Vatican, inside St. Peter's Basilica. We spent maybe over an hour in here. It is amazing to see. I would recommend it if you're interested and to pre-book the tickets, but a lot of things to see inside. You have to wear your mask inside. You have to obviously cover up your shoulders, etc. So just be wary of that. And this is it in all its glory.
Hello and welcome to the Vatican.
And we can't go 5 minutes without having an aperol spritz, so we just found this little small place nearby and had some food as well. And then this is a spot that we had been recommended so much, Ristorante de Enzo. We waited over an hour, I would say, in a queue to get in here. People were queuing up an hour before it even opened. It is very, very popular, but there is a good reason. They do sell drinks in the line while you wait, so I think we ended up getting in here at like 10 p.m. and the pasta was insane. We were a little bit drunk, I would say, by the time we got there, but so good. Definitely recommend this. Out of all the food places we ate, this is number one. And then on our last day we seen this crazy little monument, Mouth of Truth, before grabbing some food and heading to the airport to go back. We ate so much good food, so much pizza, pasta, bread, cheese, wine, aperol, and this was our hotel that we stayed in. And it was back to London.